A very good morning, dear students. Welcome to learning classes of Sacred Hearts of the subject Business Studies. Dear students, in the previous chapter, we have compiled our chapter number 2, that was Forms of Business Organizations, along with some case studies and high order thinking question. If we talk about the chapter, then the previous chapter was something about the different forms of business organization that can be executed by the private sector enterprises, out of which we have discussed about the sole proprietorship, a single person is the owner. Thereafter, we have discussed about the partnership, in that mutual agency relationship is there. Thereafter, we have discussed about the joint Hindu family business that was confined to the Hindu religion and undivided family, for which the ancestral property is must. And thereafter, we have discussed about the cooperative organizations having the objective of serving the members as well as the general public. And last but not the least, we have discussed about the joint stock company, its meaning, merits, demerits, and formation of joint stock company in the 4 stages. And thereafter, we have discussed about the different important documents that are needed for the formation of joint stock company. Dear students, today we are going to start our chapter number 3 of the business studies, and the name of the chapter is Public, Private and Global Enterprises. Initially, we will see the introduction. What is the theme of this chapter? So, this chapter is based on the role, forms and merits and demerits of the public sector enterprises. In the previous chapter, we have discussed about the private sector enterprises. Now, we are going to discuss about the public sector enterprises. Initially, we will discuss about the role of private sector versus public sector since independence. After independence, what is the role of private and public sector, that we are going to compare. The very first point, immediately after independence, what happened? The government of India nationalized many enterprises and also established many undertakings. First thing that is done by the government, that government made a lot of enterprises nationalized, and the second one, government to establish many new undertakings. Thereafter, if we talk about the Industrial Policy Resolution IPR 1948 and 1956, it assigned a dominant role to the public sector enterprises. That means a greater role was given to the to the public sector. Thereafter, many areas of business were reserved for the public sector. What was there? A lot of business sector or a lot of sectors were reserved for the public sector. Thereafter, and wherever the sectors were reserved for the public sector, the entry of private sector was restricted also, and even the working of the private sector was being restricted in the form of licensing, documentation, permissions, etc. Thereafter, in spite of giving priority, as we have discussed that a lot of priority have been given to the public sector, but if we just see the progress of the public sector, we have seen that a lot of have been contributed by the private sector even after so many restrictions. And in the last point, that is why in the 1991 the government of India adopted the policy of liberalization and globalization, because even after the so many giving power to the public sector enterprises, they were not working properly. Now, the next topic we are going to start is the forms of public enterprises, and in that we are going to start the first, that is the departmental undertakings. So, if we talk about the departmental undertakings, then dear students, it is the oldest form of public sector enterprises, and it is considered as a part of the government, as a one department only, and it has no separate existence than the government. Both of them, government and department undertaking, are having the same identity. It functions under the overall control of one ministry or department of the government. Either it used to work under the ministry of the government or the department of the government. And what are the examples of the departmental undertaking? Railways, defense, post and telegraph, etc. are the examples of departmental undertakings. Now, see the next topic, that is the features of departmental undertaking. If we talk about the features of departmental undertaking, then there are a lot of features. The very first, they operate under overall control of one certain ministry or department. It may be run by the state government or by the central government. Second point, they are part of the government only, so there is no separate entity. Third, they are financed from the annual budget of the government. Whatever the annual budget of government is there, they are financed out of that only. The next, the revenues of departmental undertakings are deposited in the treasury of the government. Whatever the revenue is there, whatever the earnings are there, these earnings are deposited in the where? In the treasury of the government. Thereafter, the staff of the departmental undertaking are considered as civil servant. Generally, we used to say government employee. So, government employees, the correct word is the civil servants, and are recruited and compensated as per the rules of the civil servant only. Now see the advantages of the departmental undertaking. The very first is the easy formation, as it is a part of the government, so there is no need for separately registration and all. Second one, effective control. There is one certain department or certain ministry that is just controlling or just looking out the activities of the departmental undertaking, and that is why there always remain a very effective control over the departmental undertakings. The third, optimum utilization of funds. There is proper utilization that means using. There is proper utilization of funds, as financial matters are subject to ministerial sanction. Whatever is the budget is there, whatever the fund is there, that is sanctioned by the ministry, and accounting also is to be done, and the audit is also to be done. So the things are done in a very chronological way. The next one is the accountability. So see the fourth point, there is direct parliamentary control over the departmental undertaking. What used to happen, that there is direct control of the parliament undertaking. The performance of the departmental undertaking can be discussed in the parliament, so it becomes the public accountability of the departmental undertaking, that they have to give the answer, they will be the responsible one. And the last feature or advantage is the public revenue. Through the departmental undertaking, whatever the earnings are there, they are getting deposited or accumulated in the treasury of the government. So these undertakings help to increase the government's revenue. What happened? The revenue of the government used to increase through the departmental undertaking. So this is all about today, dear students. Today we have discussed about the role of private and public sector since independence. Thereafter we have discussed about concept of departmental undertaking, features of departmental undertaking, and the advantages of departmental undertaking. God bless you all. Lots of love.